All right. Hello, everyone. Welcome to the AIC and today's startup story. My name is Erica Gutierrez, and I serve as the project manager for Conductor. If you're not familiar with Conductor, we are a entrepreneur support organization. So what that means is that we offer resources at no cost to entrepreneurs and small business owners, things like one-on-one consulting, workshops, events like today. So if you're interested in getting more plugged in, feel free to let us know. For today's startup story, I would love for you guys to help me welcome Amanda and Adam Bledsoe. They are CEO and owners of Bledsoe. Welcome.
Thank you. Y'all, it's exciting to be able to share our startup story. This is really the first time that I've been asked to speak on that, and so it's really the first time that I've put together and went back and looked through almost 5 years of photos. So I've been a chiropractor for 17 years, worked for someone else for about 11 here in Conway, and then branched out December of 2017. So the first thing I did in preparation for this was look at pictures from about October 1st, or about this time 5 years ago, all the way to now, and searched through about 500 photos to kind of get some themes. And so that's really what I want to share. And Adam and I are a crazy tag team. So and we don't rehearse. You know, he's on TV and I do videos all the time. And so we just wait and save all the organic goodness for y'all. So get ready. So I started out with top 10 things. I did not end up with 10, so I forgot to change this. But there's so many things. I don't know, 5 or 6. This picture on the left was me at the beach thinking I was taking my last vacation before opening a business, because I thought, surely I'm going to be chained to the business for the rest of my life. So this was that, and kind of looking ahead to the future. This picture in the middle, I have never shown anybody. And this was me dreaming for the first time in October of 2017. I had went to a conference with my previous employer and started dreaming. And so this was my family at the time, myself, and my first vision was I'm going to get a RV and put a logo on it, and I'm going to go drive around and adjust people. That's just kind of where I started dreaming. And even though at that point I'd been a chiropractor 11 years, I really had not at least unearthed, these dreams of what I want to do if I was doing it on my own. And so you're seeing the first ever anybody seeing that. And of course, my favorite verse up there, for such a time as this, was on my wall in my old clinic, is still, with me to this day. And then now, so the first theme, it's super bright, so we're gonna keep y'all awake. Every time it's a new theme, you'll know it's yellow. So what a giant God journey that I never expected, and yet so grateful for. When you're looking back, you can see lots of things. And so definitely in October 2017, didn't know if someone had said, how's your faith going to be affected? Is this going to stretch you, grow you? What I had, no idea what kind of journey that was going to be. And you just don't know what you don't know about that. So some of the things that, we learned through that time, a lot of reading. So I've got a few posts. Of course, we started in 2017. We had a fantastic growth in 2018. We got 2 years before the pandemic hit, and then kept growing even through those 2 years. So I was still a baby in the business world, going through a pandemic like a lot of folks. So I rely on a lot of wisdom of other folks. I rely on gratitude and hope and the Lord and all these things. And we put it on our walls, but I'll let Adam speak a little bit about faith being more than decor.
Yeah, so hi everybody, I'm Adam, by the way. Something that's really important to us is that we don't hide our faith, but I will say that faith is more than decor on the wall. It's more than the music that we play in our clinic. Faith is loving your neighbor as yourself. Faith is doing things for others. It's having good character. It's having good morals and ethics, and doing those things, treating your employees well, treating your patients, treating your other business owners well, supporting each other, doing that stuff. So faith is more than decor. It's easy to say, oh, I'm a Christian because I have the pretty pictures. Well, how are you conducting yourself, though? You know, are you, I was gonna say, are you a piece of trash? You know, like, are you doing things illegally? Are you like just backstabbing people and stuff like that? It just all matters. So faith is definitely more than a decor, more than decor on the wall.
So some of the examples of where, our faith was really tested, we interviewed a new doctor last night. So Adam kind of practiced telling, some of this story. This was our original clinic right here on Front Street. This was moving day when we moved out of that clinic. So very early on, we were growing out of space and people would say, you need more space, you need more doctors. And I said, no, we're not gonna do that. And so it was finally about the fall of 2020 when I told my staff, okay, we do need more space. And it was a God journey in him leading us to the space out on Amity Road. Original plans fell through, lots of things. I learned that architecture is expensive, and even if you don't end up moving into your original space, you still owe them for their time and money. So this is moving day, and then this is where we've been since August of last year. So we went from about 2,500 square feet to 7,800 square feet. And employing, I'll show you some pictures of the team in a minute, but to see how our team grew and then basically exploded surprisingly during COVID, that we really grew. And so we have a lot more space to help people and have become a multidisciplinary facility to where we're all working in collaboration and get to enjoy even bringing other people. I've done a lot of recruiting lately at chiropractic colleges, and I genuinely say, just come see what we're doing, see if you like that, if you just shows you what's an option, whether you come here or not, but just come see what's possible. This is what I call my faith and family room, just to show you how quickly I move on from things. I've already left this office, I've sold this desk, got a different desk, moved across the building, back and forth in a year. So we just change frequently, and we try to tell our team to hang on because we change our mind all the time. This wall, though, even though this is somebody else's office, that wall stays the same because it's our faith and family wall is what I call it. And that's where a lot of our videos that Dave Creek Media shoots lives. This was another piece of our faith that has influenced our business. And it was, for so much of the time in business, it feels like the business comes first and I have to work really hard to keep the priorities straight. So last year we started driving to Little Rock to a different church, decided that we really enjoyed those people, decided to move to Little Rock. And the first day that I looked at Maumelle and then Little Rock, I said, I'm going to open a clinic here. So I think it's really neat how faith and a personal decision then led to a business decision as well. And so this is our home in Little Rock that we moved to because of that church. And then this is the clinic that we opened because of that journey as well. So just watching how doors open and how we're being led.
Faith is more than decor on the wall.
There you go. That's Adam's famous line right there. Community. The most fun part of running my business is giving back. We really do enjoy that. We've enjoyed that, the entire time. I enjoyed it for a lot of years working for someone else. But I think one of the neat things about being an entrepreneur is I get to choose where and how much do I give back. And so I didn't have any restraints. I'll throw this in kind of out of order just so I don't forget to tell you. My marketing strategy in starting a new business was do everything at least once that my old boss told me no to and see if it works. So that meant radio. The biggest one that I have done and again and again is billboards. I have lots of billboards and they work. I've had people say, don't put your logo on your car. Not everybody's your patient, but the logo in the car works. So I've tried them. I didn't stick with everything, but this is community. We partner with Bethlehem House in the old building. We go to the Harbor Home events. I think this is a Harbor Home event as well. Deliver Hope. What's really been fun though, especially when we were on Front Street, is getting to know people within these organizations. So I really want to do, and for our team to do more than just give them money. When we get our patients and we connect them, that's really community where they're bringing in food for the Bethlehem House. And then they know, whether you're bringing in a donation or you're spending money with us, we're partnering with them. And then we remind our team that when we're hustling and serving a lot of patients, that's going back to these folks. Boys and Girls Club, golf tournament, stuff the bus, all kinds of different things with the community. So family, whoops, I keep going through this too fast, sorry. Let's see if I can do this. Yep, family. This is an Adam story right here about how we got started in that October, to where when I decided after 11 years working for somebody else, I literally just woke up one day and he's still laying in bed, and I said, I think this is the beginning of my last year. Well, that turned into about a 2-month deal, and then I was in my new place. But he said, I'm in. I've, just been waiting for me to decide.
Neither one of us are entrepreneurs by spirit. We're not. Our Enneagrams does not lean into that. And so this was a difficult thing for us. Like we're all about, sure, I need the paycheck. I'm too afraid to jump out there and do it. But there comes a time when you have to realize that scared people never get anything done. Write that down. That's another quotation. Scared people never get anything done. They don't. And so I said, you know what? What's the worst that could happen? We literally said, we will sell everything we own and move into a box if we have to. I was ready.
And that was my fear. And Selena has known me since the beginning of 2017. I'm trying not to tell your story because you're in the slides as we go along. But that was my fear, was I'm going to have to live in a box. And then I decided, I actually think God's bigger than that. I probably don't have to live in a box. We did literally on that beach vacation, refinanced our home. That was the only collateral we had to get a little money to make sure that we survived. And our goal, and we refinanced our house at the beach, came home, quit my job, and refinanced my house on the same day, and then opened a week later.
And it was very scary. It was very scary.
But you saw, I may not even mention the title on that first picture. That was also from that beach trip of, you just have to jump once. You've heard it before, like even asking somebody out on a date. Just a few seconds of courage, can change your life. So that was one of the hardest things that I was geared up for, was to just quit my job so that I could go open this. And that's very scary. But then the neat thing is, over time, just like opening this new clinic, was you just have to jump once, and then the risks get a little easier. You're just a little more, risk averse. This is our family through all of that. Adam graduated from college finally in December of 2017.
Lots of people go to school for 22 years.
That's right. My parents were involved, and they were the first people that I tested out the X-ray machine on. My kids, it's so interesting to see how little they were when we started, and it was just 5 years ago. My grandparents were there. When I look through these pictures, I'm like, I don't know that my kids had any clothes that didn't have our logo on it. So my sweet great aunt Anne was so supportive, lives in Atkins. It was just neat to see how I had been in Conway, and Conway supported me hugely, because with that bus RV initial dream, I thought, I'll go back to Atkins where I grew up and I'll start a clinic there. But Atkins really came to Conway. So we've grown now because of some of those Polk County ties. We have people driving from Clarksville to Benton to Conway, and then now Maumelle. So being able to, there's just ways to combine everything. Your life is just your life, not your spiritual life, your business life, your personal life. It all gets very meshed together, I guess, which is a blessing that we get to do that. Adam has been in and out of the business a couple different times. He's been our bus driver. He also changes his look quite often. That's you. Yep, driving the motorhome to take our team to a seminar
in Texas.
That's why I had a cowboy hat. Yeah. I'm going to all the events together, and then in April he went back to THB. My kids go along. This was on a recruiting trip. This big picture, I took them this summer to Iowa to a chiropractic college. I'm an Enneagram 3, so I'm an achiever. So I'm hoping that I end up with 2 chiropractic kids. I'm at least going to try. And so I keep exposing them to chiropractic colleges, grand openings. They see the good, the bad, the ugly of running a business, but they're getting wore down. This is another fun one, tribe. I wouldn't want to do life without my tribe. So this goes back to a little bit more of the story of, I've been working for somebody else for a long time. My 10th anniversary with that company came and went with no fanfare. I think I got a $5 Starbucks card. And then I started selling jewelry as crazy as it sounds, in August of 2017, I was already busy, I had those 2 little kids, and I was busy working 8 to 6 Monday through Friday. And this was a big step in independence of me doing something for me and not even asking my boss. This was before side hustles were really popular. And I was like, I'm going to sell jewelry. And I really didn't tell her until she kind of found out. But it was, I see it now as a step towards independence. And then started getting congratulations. This is still August of 2017 and I'm getting awards. They sent me like little trinkets and keychains. This is a down the road, if you're employing people, send them a keychain or a certificate. Like these things are still in my phone and they meant something. And that gave me the confidence to keep going. Selena, who's in there, she gets her own slide. So it's so fun to see all these pictures of her because I had started coaching with her in January of 2017. She had been my jewelry lady before she was my coach, but never mentioned, hey, you should sell jewelry. It's interesting to see how my style has changed, through the years. But Selena was some of our first marketing, her and her kids who've grown a lot during that time too, and doing masterminds and coaching. Reading books with her, doing Zoom through the pandemic where we kept our mastermind, probably got closer than ever with that tribe by doing Zoom calls of running a business together. All the way to this top left is her, at my house. And so lots of success with a shared tribe, and getting to practice in a safe space. As Krista and Lily, we're private center. So getting to practice how to do life together in business. But I think one of a big lesson, there's lots, is how to celebrate each other, that we can all, we don't collaborate enough. We told that chiropractor last night, we don't collaborate enough. We tend to think we're in competition with things. And so this group is definitely all about collaboration. We've taken 2 mastermind retreats. This was just a month ago, to where we are continually setting goals and working together to do big things personally, professionally, and then Selena celebrating my newest clinic. Team, I learned after 3 weeks that I can't do it alone. It might have been 3 days, but this is a fun picture because top left, that's my mom. She was my first staff. She was a retired teacher and she was slow and this was not a forte, but for the first few weeks, she helped and that was great. And, when the pandemic came along, I thought I was going to have to pull her and my dad back out of retirement. Like, if I can't find employees, I will hire my mom and my dad, and I will hire teenagers. And thank Claire, because I allows that. So we started with my mom. Then we started with Kim. Kim is a wonderful story because she had worked for a doctor that retired in that Front Street building for 10 years. And she calls up one day in that first month of December and says, are you hiring? Well, maybe if you do insurance billing. Well, I've done it for 10 years. I'm like, well, get on over here. So we literally put her back to work in the same office that she had been in, and she taught us things that we didn't know. So we went from these 2 to then 2 or 3 more. And then Alvin came along, an intern from UCA. I've always hired anybody who thought they wanted to be a chiropractor. He's now in his 2nd trimester of chiropractic school in St. Louis, worked for UCA and us for several years. So then we got bigger. And we added our families into the picture. 2018, we won Best of Parker County. That's how I got that first billboard. I'd had a relationship with a billboard rep for a long time. And I said, my old boss was always like, what are you going to put on there on the billboard? And I didn't know, but I was like, I'm going to figure it out if I win Best of Parker County. And so the day I won, I called Colleen and I said, let's get a billboard. And so I've been there ever since. Jared was one of our early massage therapists in Sella. Some of you guys know them. They all, when I went through the slides, there's so many pictures of our team holding babies. So our picture just kept getting bigger and bigger, and Christmas parties. And this is the front desk of the old clinic. And where that bless sign is, like, we busted out that wall to make more space and took on not just one suite, but I took on the next suite sight unseen for 2 or 3 years. So we grew and grew. Chiropractors, massage therapists, lots of helpers, all of this, we do a lot of magazine advertising, and again, it works. People come in and they've heard about us and we have fun. I forgot that when I was looking through all the pictures of Halloween, I was like, why don't we dress up anymore? Well, we did. That was last year. I just forget. So we try to have fun all the time. Amazing, team, nurse practitioner, going to events, investing in my team. I took, Adam tells us a lot with our story that 11 years, you get a lot of good, you get a lot of bad, you see what you want to do when you go out and what you don't want to do. But definitely the good was I got poured into and learned about Dale Carnegie and Zig Ziglar and all these Tony Robbins, people that all you young kids don't even know who any of those people are, maybe. But hopefully they're good folks, motivation. And so this was a UCA event where we took several teams and pour into them to where they're learning more. There's a beautiful lake slide in the middle there. Brand, this is where Adam, I'll let him talk again. So because this was a family vision to make known without words, eventually the blonde curly headed lady. When I left the old place that I was at, I marketed them so well they didn't know my name. They knew I was the blonde curly headed lady. So Adam, tell them what you did.
Okay, so my whole thought was she was well known, but not well known. They didn't know her name. They just knew who she was. So I thought of the Drew Carey show. When you look, if everybody know who Drew Carey is, by the way, some of my giants, people that I think the world of, are in this room right now, and I'm so thankful that y'all are here today. I thought of the Drew Carey show, and I'm like, instantly who that is. You could remove the Drew Carey show, and you would say, that's Drew Carey, by just a few simple little lines like that, right? So I thought, what could we do that would be fun, that would really catch people's eye? So I got with a graphic designer, and I told them what was in my mind, because I can't put what was in my mind on paper. I don't know how to do that. It's not my skill set. So I said, this is what I have in my mind. Can you draw that and send it to us? And he sent our logo to us. It may have been just a tad different when he sent it to us. I said, that's it. He said, man, it's so unprofessional. It's not going to do well.
Well, so here's what he sent first. He sent more of, I don't know, something, and basically said, I can't make that work. He sent us some boxy, just with our name. And I sent him back. Somebody had sent me a birthday card where you use like paint or draw, on your iPad, and they drew crazy curls. I sent him that image, and that's when he finally got to this.
But he still said, it's unprofessional. It will never go well. I said, I don't care. We wanted to use that brand because she's the curly haired chiropractor, and it's on everything. You should see my tattoo of it. Kidding. I don't have a tattoo. But in the branding process, and maybe you guys are past that already. You've already done your branding. I didn't go to school for branding. I've never heard a lesson on branding. I didn't know what goes into it, but I knew that I cared very much for our baby. When your name is attached to something and your money, your income is attached to something, you want it to go well. So I was like, okay, we need to think about all of this. What color is your brand? Like, how do you figure that out? So I said, what company's done very well in the United States? Well, Ford Motor Company. So I'm like, what's the color of that Ford badge? And so I look it up, and I'm like, that's going to be the color of our brand, the blue. That is Ford Motor Company, Ford Blue. Don't tell them. They'll probably want us to pay for that. Also, I started studying colors. You notice that we have orange kind of spread out, it's kind of splattered in there. Did you know that scientifically, orange elicits a yes response? I didn't. I knew this because I worked for a guy called Mike Lewis. He was the Jesus painter. He painted these massive portraits of Jesus in a concert setting, and he always splattered a little bit of orange. I said, Mike, why do you do that? He said, it accentuates things. I mean, he's a millionaire. He's done this all over the world. And so I'm like, we need to put a little bit of orange in there in all of our offices, all of our rack cards, all of our everything. So I studied all of that stuff. What's the most popular smell to human beings? Anybody?
Donuts.
Oh, that's close. Something that goes along with donuts. Ask the cops. I was a cop for 8 years. What? Coffee is the #1 scent that people love to smell. I studied that. So we had the aroma of coffee flowing through our clinic. Like, I wanted, what kind of sounds do people enjoy to hear? What shades of paint so we looked into all of that, and I'm sure a lot of you do, but then it just goes, and it goes, and the machine takes over, and she just, and we have an amazing marketing team, that just helps get that brand out, but branding is everything. And so I was like, My vision eventually is to get rid of Bledsoe Chiropractic, and the curly haired chiropractor lady is known. You know who that is when you see that sign, just like Chick-fil-A, they get rid of the, whatever, or McDonald's, you know what I'm saying? Who are we to think that we're going to get to that level? Who knows, but hard work. So that was really important to us. And now she puts our brand everywhere. We support shooting teams, canine teams, UCA, CDC, Hendrix. Lots of places. We're everywhere because branding is so important.
And intentional. I think, even just hearing he said there was a lot of intention that it went into all that, both in and out of the clinic. And this UCA sign reminds me of, I've tried to help other chiropractors in different states. And a lot of times when I would tell them, this is what I'm doing, this is what I'm doing with Facebook, and it works, they would try just that one thing, and it really didn't work, because the thing we hear a lot is you're everywhere. And so companies, I think about Coke and places, things like that, like they don't slow down on that. So we're on the fence at UCA. I'm an alum, so I try to find things, and we've refined and are still refining our values. That way we don't just necessarily say yes to everybody. It has to fit within our values. But finding ways to both support the community and spread our brand. This was a chamber event, and I forgot I even said yes to this, and I was like, I go for business with Bledsoe all along the background there. So any kind of way we can do that, we do. Our patients, a smile and a hug, years of relationships, babies, and love is what we're all about.
And all of this was done with their approval, HIPAA. Okay,
Yes,
we got their approval for all this.
Well, I'm not sure the name of it. They've already all been all over Facebook. So one of our favorites. You've seen several pictures of babies and families, and so we love that. This sweet girl, asked for a T-shirt, just made her day to have those. That T-shirt was actually a mistake. So with the original designer of that, it was supposed to be more of a pocket size logo. It came in like that, and I said, I love it. And so we stuck with it. So we love our patients. We love to be able to, we help encourage them to let us take your picture and show the world, so that we can help more people, so they can go, hey, that looks like me on a walker. Maybe I don't have to be on that walker anymore. And so we support our patients and appreciate the support that they've given us. And we use a lot of photos and Facebook to be able to show them how happy we are, happy we are to have them with us. This was one of our first patients in our Mama clinic, and we celebrated his birthday on that first day. What's next? One of my favorite quotes is, the best is yet to come. And so again, I'm hopeful that I've got 2 kids that are chiropractors someday. I thought of the Whitney Houston song, "The Children Are Our Future." So that's them there. And then in going to schools, I'm always trying to refine my message. And so read about a concept that's pretty simple, but just noticing when you're talking to folks, you're trying to sell them on an idea, what makes their eyebrows go up. Let's get a little interactive. Anybody heard that concept before? If you're trying to figure out what the best message is. And so I practiced some things on chiropractic students, came back, gave my designer these ideas, and said, I really want a visual, and we now have a giant stand-up banner that we take to the schools with us to say, these are our 2 clinics now. All we need is you. And so when I went there a couple weeks ago, I met people from Piggott, and I met people from Oklahoma and from Texarkana, and I was like, okay, you can be where we are now, or if you want to go home, we want to help you with that. So we want to both inspire future chiropractic entrepreneurs, but also train them on some things, and before they go out there, help them learn through some of the things that we've learned, so that it's amazing experience. So these are some of the things that we take with us to promote our other doctors. Apparently that's my last slide. I did pretty good.
I want to say this. None of this happens. We were called. What's it called when people think that we were called privileged. You don't know what it's like to have to work hard for your stuff. I was so offended by that. I'm a small town country boy from Ohio milking cows, I know exactly what hard work looks like. None of this happened because somebody handed it to us. The Lord has blessed us. There is no doubt about that. But this woman works her tail off. Our entire team works their tail off. And we know, that we're only as good as the people we surround ourselves with. But I think her intentionality of being involved in the community, reaching out to people, getting out of your comfort zone and saying yes to a lot of the stuff. And it's raining. Of course, we have to set up at the fairgrounds for the event. That's going to be fun. Anyway,
Oh, we need to, right?
but we're going to do that, aren't we? We're going to get wet unloading stuff because you go to it all. You go to it all.
The other thing, just thinking of, and y'all, we'll have plenty of time for you guys to answer, ask questions and answer. But, as an entrepreneur, I think, that early jump was, like our first office, we had a supply closet. We didn't know what to put in the supply closet. We didn't know what supplies we needed. And so you figure that out. And so I think being able to just resource, I have an accountant, I have a coach. I don't know how to do everything, but I know how to find the people who do and lean into that. The video crews and the Facebook crews and all the different vendors. One of the notes that I had that I didn't tell you was another entrepreneurial tip is make vendors work for their money. Like, I'm a very good customer of a lot of local businesses and a lot of vendors. And so I help them, and then I expect, them to help me grow my business in return, that I don't just partner with any vendor. I want to have a relationship. People do business with people. And so often if the person goes away, then I have to decide, do I really like this company? Do I really value what they do? I have one company that is terrible to work with, and I keep trying to leave them, but they have a superior product. So I keep having to threaten them, like, this is going to be my last purchase. And I'm like, it's probably not, but please just ship me my stuff that you took my money 2 months ago. So
I want to say this. I have permission about this. Glenn Crockett. If y'all don't know Glenn Crockett, you need to know him. He was our very first patient to walk through our doors in 2017. And Glenn, you're massive to us. And I hugged the man. He's like, get off me. We were so glad that somebody trusted us enough to open the door and walk in. And it's every day. And we do not take our patients for granted. We're so thankful to be able to serve them and on our team. And hopefully we were able to get that message out to our team, because it grows. We have about 40 employees now. It's a lot to keep up with. But new systems, with help with Drew back there. Thank you to Drew, and just a lot of people, a lot of help from small business owners and stuff. So it's good. It hasn't been easy at all. And utopia doesn't exist. That's another realization that I had.
Before I lose this
thought
again, like when he said, scared people don't get things done, I think, what I think even back to faith, or just even if it's not about faith, just about life in general, staying comfortable, really doesn't stretch you. So knowing, okay, it's scary, but then you don't get the joy, of seeing Glenn and seeing these different patients and these different teams if you don't just try it and keep walking through those open doors. Let's open it up to questions.
Yeah, do you guys have any questions?
So I met you about 20 years ago. We were
Yes.
in chiropractic.
Yes.
I'll never forget it. And I feel like you were the boss then.
Nice.
I thought you owned the place. So a lot of people here don't have their own business,
Yeah.
but maybe they want to one day. What was your approach to being an employee that made you seem like you were the boss? Because I really thought you, and I thought you worked the other place here.
Yep. So thank you so much. A couple things. You and I were in Toastmasters together. And so I was constantly investing in myself. And that boss, you've already said who it was, but a little short-sighted to where we were leaving early. We closed at noon on Friday. I had to leave early to go to Toastmasters. And he said, you need to stop leaving early. I'm like, I'm learning how to be a better speaker. I think this is kind of important. So, figure out another way to do it. But I think I'm a good chameleon. I'm good at just blending in and leading, but I'm also good at just act as if it is the place, that it is your place, and run it that way. I'm reading a daily, John Maxwell leadership book. And so it's almost geared to people that aren't me, that are just trying to be leaders first, because everybody's a leader in some form or fashion, even if you don't own it. But if you act like that before you own the building, like, you're going to do well. And people appreciate that. Alvin was a student at UCA. All I knew was he was referred by somebody I knew and trusted. Didn't know her that well, but she said he works at the UCA bookstore. That's my alum college. He wants to be a chiropractor. And so I hired him. And what I noticed right away is I could trust him. I didn't know why exactly I trust him, but again, like, it was my baby, and I was handing him the keys So that would have been about March. 4 months, I'm the only one locking the doors every night. I'm the only one closing it down. I'm switching laundry at 9:30, all these things. But I felt comfortable, with him, and he stayed with us for, 3 or 4 years. So kind of just finding people, but that's going to be an asset. Whether you're an entrepreneur or you're going to be down the road, be an asset to somebody. Be their Alvin, be their person that can lock the door so they can go home and have dinner with their family.
Can I answer a question shorter? Yeah, she doesn't know any other way. It's just take charge and go, go, go. I mean, we were marketing in Little Rock, which is a very hard place to market, and it can swallow you up, but you eat an elephant one bite at a time,
I was marketing at Curves, and I got a letter from the board because I was only on a temporary license, and they said your doctor needs to come sit in the parking lot and supervise you doing events at Curves. So I did, just go for it. Just keep going, keep going.
Hey, Glenn.
You guys are a great model of this. Let's talk about how important processes and systems are to your success. You guys are really good. I know you're working with.
We are. We're trying to finally get some process and systems. We obviously do, but we want them to be more clear because we've grown so quickly. And so even one of our biggest challenges lately is trying to start a small clinic when nobody remembers how we started it, 5 years ago. Now there's so many more processes. So sometimes you just do what you can do until you get there. That you may not have we had a website early on, but I know Selena's always saying, just get going and you may get a website next year. I didn't have a budget until this year. Just so you know, it was just do as much as possible. And that protected us during the pandemic when I didn't know how much, we needed. I just knew let's take care of as many people as possible so that we're prepared, no matter what. But then now we actually have it in a budget. So when we coach with that too, that you may not know what you need right away, but just start doing it. But it'd been nice if I'd have known about EOS 5 years ago.
A little bit of a background working with another clinic, but moving away from that and going into your own business, how did you start driving people to keep driving?
I want to answer that first. It's Kool-Aid. You pass it out. Make people drink the Kool-Aid. So, Joe, if you guys are trying to go somewhere, go ahead. It's raining outside. That was the scary part. And Amanda, we were nervous about that. It's like, what if they don't come? What if the brand isn't enough? And I guess word of mouth and social media and
Definitely social media. So we had social media and networking. I must have forgotten that slide in here, but I was in a BNI group, which is a networking group, immediately. And I also wasn't afraid to just kind of start from scratch. And so my goal was really make Front Street my neighborhood, so we took care of our neighbors, and I was like, I tried really hard not to bring anybody with me. Like, I just want to start fresh. I want to meet new marketing clients. So hustling, I even thought about and we marketed all these things, but I noticed on that original brochure, I forgot what our hours used to be, but I thought at the time, nobody's open on Saturdays. Let's open on Saturday. Nobody's open at 7 a.m. Let's be open at 7 a.m. So we tried to be creative as far as where's there a need, and then blast it, all over Facebook and become like family with those patients to where, definitely social media and my networking group kept us steady. But now I had a phone call with a patient yesterday and she didn't want to get x-ray. And I said, well, you have to get x-ray. She said, okay, and I thought she was going to say, I'm going to go somewhere. I'm going to come on in anyway, because I've heard so many great things. I want to come in. Like, I'll trust you. If I need x-rays, I'm coming because of your reputation and what I've heard.
I work for a media outlet. I won't share what that is, but I think that you need to find a partner, somebody that helps you spread your message as well. I don't care about being famous because I'm not, but everything I do is to try to help our brand name recognition. Okay, people hear my name on a TV station, they're like, so that sounds familiar. I mean, we've got lots of patients just because of that goofy stuff, but it helps. So always be on your game, always treat people well, because, that stuff happens. It's just constant, nonstop work. Hey, Drew.
So I think I didn't know if I was looking here or not.
I think one of the things to highlight about you guys that is so impressive, and I'm fortunate to work with entrepreneurs all the time. I think you guys have something that is rare, that a lot of people like the idea of entrepreneurial life, and they don't see so much what Adam mentioned earlier. You guys just don't stop. And that's not to say that you don't create space or margin for happiness or family or friends in your life. But when you talk about starting a business and making these big dreams happen, you never really saw anything else as an option. You didn't really leave room for failure. And that entrepreneurial optimism is certainly a part of what has made you guys successful, because you guys keep pushing. It's never good enough. There's always a way to get better. And commend you guys for that. For all the students who are wondering how to do this, the answer is you work to fail.
Well, that's right. And I'm sorry, when you bring it all together, Amanda said that our faith is integrated into our business, which is integrated into our family. We hire our friends to come work with us. And we're like, look, number one, our friendship is more important than this relationship here at work. So let's make sure that our friendship still goes. If it doesn't work on the business side, that's okay. And we have several friends that work for us, and it's great. They care for us. They love us. They have our best interest in mind. And so that's kind of
I
nice.
think the other, I mentioned I thought that was my last vacation, and then by March of 2018, I decided, what if I traveled every month to go to a seminar? And so I had the ability to decide what kind of seminars in continuing education, what kind of tools I wanted to buy. So I stayed really curious, and I found a way to combine tax deductible travel, for seminars and tools, and legit, met people, learned things, but also got to travel. And we really didn't shut that down for very long. Even in 2020, we tried to get back going and take our team to places. So again, I'm always looking for a win-win-win. If I could take care of my team and be in Vegas and be learning something and even be making money, I don't know if I was doing the fourth one, but at least three of those, at the same time.
One thing we did do, we took our team on a cruise, and there was no work. I mean, just developing the relationships more, but
We did
that
most
was.
of them, just me and him, not you.
Oh, that's.
Some people work, some people just have fun. Yes.
As somebody who's seen your journey kind of growing to being in another office to your own, but talk a little bit about kind of self-defined rebranding. So you transitioned from working for somebody, and then you went to being known as the curly head lady in that office, Bledsoe chiropractic, and now trying to brand this next phase as being only the curly headed lady. Can you talk about some of your intentionality and thought process without revealing your strategy, but just how do you plan to do that? Because you've always been a chiropractor.
Right.
The important message is, even if you get set in one thing, you can still rebrand yourself.
Yes.
So I kind of want to hear you.
And some of what you're saying, I think, is even too, like, how do we reproduce this? Because I can't be everywhere. There's only one of me. And so that's been a blessing too, that we figured out ways to reproduce me in videos. So that way they see the message, training, and then just watching reviews and going, okay, you're seeing the team. Our number one Google word is team. And probably number two might be welcoming, as far as what people are saying in those reviews. And so it's almost in a way that I don't necessarily have to be the chiropractor, but I'm the brand. And I am able to be a chiropractor. So the nice thing is I can step in when I need to, but I'm really working to be a mentor and finding what gives me joy and energy. When I've been going to these schools and talking to students, I'm like, this brings me energy. I even had the vision, because I'm always thinking of things. I'm like, I could be, okay, here's where this went. I was at the school, and I was like, I want my kids to come here. And so then I also got to talking to students, and they're paying a chiropractor while they're in school, outside of school. And I'm like, no, that's not good. I want to come here and put a free clinic for students, still have people like you that aren't students paying for it, free students. And then I'm like, no, I could be president of this university here. So I quickly went from kids clinic to president.
It's exhausting.
Just gonna run as hard as I can until it.
But I mean this from the bottom of my heart. I know I've seen some spouses of successful people who don't get behind them. And I'm like, you're a fool. You're a fool. Like, you could have the life that you want if you would just humble yourself and help them.
Support is huge.
Support
And
is
I've seen patients in that way too, to where a supportive spouse saying, go get what you need for your health. So, you know, surround yourself with, I mentioned community, tribe, family, that you're not gonna be able to do it by yourself. Believe me, if you could do it by yourself, I would have figured out how to do it by myself.
Awesome. Any other questions? All right. We don't have any questions online. Awesome. Well, thank you so much for being here today. Thank you guys for joining us. Please give them a round of applause.